to the Nerds Who Swing podcast. My name is Miller.
Margot.
You can find us everywhere where you would find a normal podcast.
Search Nerds Who Swing on Facebook.
You can find us on Twitter. You can find us on Instagram. You can find us on Pinterest. You can find us on SoundCloud. You can find us on YouTube.
We are so many places.
Or even on iTunes. That's probably where you found this one. And then the most important one is you can find us on Patreon.com, where if you want to just like give us $1 or $2 to help like just pay for hosting our website and our podcast.
Oh, that would be so nice of people.
I know,
Can you
right?
imagine if they did that?
There might even be bonuses eventually.
Bonuses?
Yeah.
Sexy bonuses?
No, lame bonuses.
Oh,
you
good.
could do our taxes.
Lame bonuses. Bonuses including.
That's right. And then you can also, we have a contest with every episode where if you want to be in our logo.
Yeah. Did you see our logo? Can you see it? Pull it up. Do you see our super sexy logo?
That's right.
Is it me right now?
It is right now.
It's me right now. That's me, folks. But maybe that could be you.
That's right.
Which would be super hot.
Send us your picture.
Send us a picture.
Any one of these.
No faces?
No faces.
No faces. Not that your face isn't sexy, but, you know, like other sexy business.
Also, you know, no penises unless there's also a vagina there.
Because who wants a penis?
Yeah. You know, just saying. Yeah, that's 50% of the vote. I'm not voting for that. Yeah.
Anyway, send us in your pictures if you want to.
You could be the background of the Nerds Who Swing logo.
Can you imagine
your
body, your sexy, sexy bod as the background of our logo?
Damn, Margot.
So hot.
Yeah. Anyway.
I like it. Okay, we're Nerds Who Swing.
That's right. Margot, Miller, enjoy the episode.
All right, fine. Do that.
Okay, this is a good way to start off the episode.
All right, welcome. We're fighting.
Yeah.
No, we're not fighting.
Okay.
So today we're going to talk about rules.
Sure.
Couple rules that people have in relationships in terms of the lifestyle, I guess.
Yeah, that sounds good.
All right. So I would say most couples have some amount of rules.
Yeah. Why do you think people come up with rules? Like,
I think it just makes them feel safer. I think it's this whole big new weird area of life, and I think if you have limits on it, even if you end up blowing right past them eventually or whatever, I think it's just a certain sense of security, like you're in control of what's going to happen that day.
it's like your safety blanket for swinging, kind of.
Sure.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would say. You want to trademark that?
Yeah.
You look real proud of yourself.
I am. I was like, I thought about that while you were talking, and I was like, fuck, that's awesome.
Like, I'm going to swoop in here.
Swinger blade.
Yeah, I'm going to swoop in here and make her sound like boring,
That's
and I'm going
it.
to have all these little
I prepared tons
phrases.
of jokes for
I
this
see.
episode.
Someone
yeah.
did their homework
That's right.
ahead of time,
No.
for sure. I didn't.
Yeah, I
that's
agree.
what I think.
So it's like a safety kind of thing.
Yeah.
Make you feel comfortable with what you're doing. So you know the range that your partner can play in, kind of, as well. Like, for you, you know that your partner agreed to this range of, like, activities or whatever.
Yeah, I think so.
And you agreed with them, so theoretically you should both be kind
I think
of
it gives you the
comfortable in that
illusion,
play
anyways, that no one is going to be hurt or upset about anything.
Right.
And I mean, I don't know that that's necessarily true because people have emotions that don't always make sense, and sometimes you will be upset or you will be hurt about something, even though it wasn't explicitly in your rules, or you know, or it was in your rules and you agreed to it before, but now all of a sudden, actually, I don't feel so good about it. So
Right.
I don't know that it's necessarily makes it so that no one will ever be hurt or upset. But I think you're going into it with the intention of being on the same page and having sort of a plan as to what you are and aren't okay with.
Right.
Right?
Okay.
So it should alleviate some of the worry, I would say.
Yeah, I think so. Because you probably would have talked about all the, like, rules up to that point.
Yeah,
You know,
I think so.
you would probably talk about each of the kind of areas about your rules.
Well, and it doesn't have to be it's not a negative conversation either. I mean, I think it would come out of talking about fun things too. Like, oh, I think it'd be super hot to like watch you with another woman or something.
Yeah.
But as you're talking about the fun stuff, you might say like, oh, but actually, I don't know.
Yeah, I didn't mean to
Kissing
make it
might
sound like it
be-
was a negative
No,
thing,
I know,
you're
but I
right.
think it might sound negative to people. Like, here are all the things I will not let you do. It's not really.
Yeah.
That's
These are
not
the swinger commandments for us.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. Or I'll be mad or something. I don't really think that that's what it is. I think it's more, as you're talking about all the things that you find fun, there might be little things that pop up like, I actually don't know if I'd be comfortable with you, I don't know, kissing somebody else or something like that, or full swap or whatever the thing is. And it's just like, okay, you put that aside. So here's all the things we think are hot and good and fun. That one thing, not sure how I feel about it, so we'll make it a rule for now. And then if we end up kind of tiptoeing up to that rule, maybe stepping over it, maybe not, then we can kind of see how we feel, right?
Well, because it's a good way to slowly work up to whatever you might work up to.
Yeah.
Like, almost like exercising. Like, you wouldn't jump right to doing, like, a 500-pound bench press.
Right.
You know?
You would die.
So you would go slow and slowly build up to the
I'm
steps.
not sure it's the best metaphor.
Yeah, or whatever it is.
Don't do these because you might die. I don't know.
Well, yeah, if you
that's
jump right to the
same.
full swap, you might die. I think
Don't
I saw
think
that online.
That's the thing?
Yeah.
Well, you can find anything online.
Swinger deaths. Yeah.
Swinger deaths. Oh. That's
Hashtag
I wonder if that's our
swinger
website. Okay, so common rules that we've heard.
Yeah. Well, do you want to start with, how about we start with what were our rules when we started?
Oh, our rules? Okay.
Yeah, like when we very first started.
I mean, I guess that's
It's probably common.
Yeah.
But
All right,
I thought
so
it might be
we-
interesting. It's like, what were ours when we first started? And then we could talk about maybe what ours are now.
The evolution of rules, if you will. Okay.
And if they're different, maybe they're exactly the same.
Well, I would say for us and very common, almost goes, I hope, without saying, is like protection.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever
I'd say that's a pretty,
you're doing.
I don't even know if that's a rule.
That's
like
what I'm
a
saying.
swinger law.
It kind of
Almost
just is like wear everything you need to wear to be
That's
safe.
one of those, like, you would use that unless it's specifically pointed out and agreed upon by everybody. If for some reason you're not.
I suppose if you have more of a group that you're always playing with, and maybe
Right.
you know you've all been tested, or you've all decided to be not like a polyamorous relationship necessarily, but possibly or whatever.
Yeah,
If that's
almost like
your
exclusive to.
yeah,
like,
if you're sort of
this group of
exclusively
people.
with this 1, 2, 3, however many couples or
Yeah.
something like, then that's sort of up to you. But I would say definitely in the lifestyle, it goes without saying that you're going to be wearing protection
I
for
agree.
sure. I mean, that was even a rule for us, even though we weren't sure if we were going to be full swap
Yeah.
anyway. But
Yeah,
just
because we just
anyway.
said that anyway.
be prepared.
It's like
Boy
yeah.
Scout it. Be
Yeah,
prepared. Be
exactly.
safe. That kind of stuff.
Yeah,
I would say same room is probably a very common one, and that's one that we have also.
right. I remember you asked me at the start if I would be more comfortable if we were in the same room,
Mm-hmm.
or like maybe being in a separate room makes it like you don't see what's happening or something, or
If you
you know.
were
So it's like I could see
worried
people
about
having
that.
both ways, like
Yeah.
of wanting it, but for us, yeah, and for a lot of people, I think same room.
I think that's a pretty common one, because the idea for you and me is that we're experiencing it together.
Right.
There are people who don't play that way,
Mm-hmm.
who maybe don't find it arousing to see their partner doing stuff. Though they don't mind it, they're not angry or jealous, but they don't really. So they're sort of maybe more comfortable experimenting with separate play, separate room, or separate,
Yeah.
area of the room.
But there
or
might be
something
people
like that.
who most of the time enjoy doing it in the same room together, but then sometimes,
Yeah.
occasionally, like aren't in the same room for whatever
Right.
reason.
So we had same room, and we've stuck with that.
Mhm.
So same room, and I'm trying to think what else we said at the beginning. I mean, I sort of think at the very beginning we just wanted to soft swap. I mean, at the
think
very,
so,
very
yeah.
beginning, I don't even know if we went that far.
I don't know
think it
either.
was
I think
more
our
like,
rule was like, we'll just watch.
yeah, yeah, but that's not really a rule. That's
No,
more
it's
of
not,
a hope
yeah.
or expectation or whatever. So.
Yeah. I guess we didn't have a lot of rules at the
Not
beginning.
overly, because I think we just didn't know what was going to happen and what was and what wasn't available to
Yeah.
us.
Which I'm sure lots of people go through because you don't even know like what's on the menu until
Yeah.
you're like kind of are presented with some of the things.
Totally.
So okay, then since we had so few rules at the
Well,
start,
I mean, there's
like-
it's sort of a cliche almost at this point, but the like not take one for the team kind of thing. So
yeah,
if you find the woman in a couple attractive, I don't find the man in that same couple attractive, I am not going to fool around with him just so you can fool around with her.
right,
There are ways around that if the couple is willing, like where the two women play and the men watch or something like that. Like just because you find one partner of a couple attractive doesn't necessarily mean that you're not going to be able to play with them because you don't find the other partner attractive.
right.
It might, but that sort of more depends on what the other couple's rules are. Do they play separately? Do they
Right.
not? All that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, the take one for a team. I guess we sort of had that.
Yeah.
Sort of had
I
that
don't think
rule,
we
but
realized that at
it's-
the start.
it's not
but
really a
It is
rule.
kind of a... Yeah. I don't know if that is a rule, but
Well, I
it
mean-
is... Because lots of people say that.
I won't play with someone I don't find attractive.
Yeah.
I guess that's a rule. That's sort of just life, though.
I agree.
Um,
yeah. I
but-
feel like that's... Before you need rules, that's a decision you make. You know, like before you get to the point where you need to evaluate your couple rules,
Yeah.
you would already have been like, I don't think I want to play with this
Yeah,
person.
I've already sort of decided.
Yeah. So that's probably like...
Well, if it's not somebody that you would have wanted to sleep with just if you were single, why would you suddenly sleep with them
yeah.
now that you're married? Like, it doesn't really make...
Doesn't-
To me, it doesn't really make sense.
I agree.
There are people who can and do and want to sleep with anyone and everyone, which is great. We're just saying if there's someone you don't want to,
Right.
don't do it to make your partner happy, because I don't think anybody does end up happy in that situation.
Probably not.
So, yeah.
Okay. So there's a common rule, too, that some people don't like to kiss.
Yeah,
other
I
people.
don't know how common it is, but
Well,
we've
it's
definitely
a
heard
rule
it.
that we've heard, yeah.
Yeah, friends of ours have it and
Yeah.
stuff. So they don't like kissing.
Yeah.
They soft swap and they, well, depends on the couple. Soft swap, full swap. So you may be having sex with the person,
Right.
but you're not kissing them.
Right. Which I can see people having that rule.
Yeah.
I don't,
It just depends
I
on
don't
your...
know if we talked about using that rule or not. I mean, I was cool with you kissing other ladies.
Well,
But I don't even know if we talked about the other part right off the bat, because we probably hadn't thought about
no, I
that
hadn't
even
thought about
swapping
that
was
one.
like a thing or whatever.
I hadn't thought about kissing. Honestly, until friends of ours said that was one of their rules, I thought, oh, wow, okay. Because I don't feel like it's something that we had expressly talked about. Like, is it okay if that kind of thing? I don't really think that we had talked about it.
Right.
And I was already kissing ladies, right? Sort of thing. So, which is hot and pretty universally allowed and liked, right? But sometimes within a couple, that woman isn't going to kiss another man, and the man's not going to kiss another woman, but the woman is welcome and likely encouraged to kiss other women. But I suppose that could be a rule as well. Maybe just depends what your preference is.
Right.
So I think it's important for people to know that whatever your rules are, there'll be a place for you in the lifestyle. It's not as though if we were about to fool around with somebody and they say, oh, well, we don't kiss, we'd be like, well, then we're out of here. Like, that's not, that's fine. That's your rule. Okay, we'll work around that.
Right.
Just like
and I'm sure lots of people are like that. But there might be a few people who, if you have a certain thing, like maybe if you don't full swap or something.
Right, and that's really what
The
a
other
couple
couple's
is looking for.
then
Then I
maybe
suppose that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think another rule people have is like where the man should finish. He should finish with his wife or with a lady or
Sure.
like anything like that.
Right. That one can. Oh well. I was going to make a pun without realizing it, but anyways, that can get messy. Is what I was going to say, which is not what I meant. But yes, I'm just that clever.
Yes.
No, that's too low hanging fruit.
Yeah.
That's too low of a bar. I like to set my humor a little higher if possible. But it can, because are you talking oral? I think it would be a pretty big assumption that you could finish with someone else during oral.
Right.
I think that would be surprising to most women and maybe not welcome. So I think that would definitely be a thing that you would have to talk about with your partner, as in your spouse, but also with the partner that you're playing with before any of that happened. In terms of full swap finishing, I don't know. Again, everyone is presumably wearing protection, but that doesn't make it. It doesn't mean it's not necessarily going to be a rule. Some people may still have a rule like you don't finish with somebody else, you just finish with me.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either.
But that's to each their own, right?
Yep.
But it's something to probably talk about with your partner just to make sure, because what if that was an assumption that one of the people in the partnership made?
Right.
And then all of a sudden you're finishing someone else, and I'm like, what the crap? What are you doing?
Right.
Like, that's not cool. And
Yeah.
you're like, no one ever told me not to, or
Yeah.
whatever.
And you might have
So-
rules that come up after, like you've
That's
already
right.
kind of broken the rule once without meaning to.
Yeah, it's already happened.
And then you're like, actually, I didn't like that when that happened. So let's make a rule so that doesn't happen again.
right. Yeah, I think that's fair. We don't really have that rule, but I could see that
You mean
people
like
would.
that we would have any retro? We
The
don't have
finishing
any.
situation.
Oh, I see. Sorry.
Yeah. But on a case-by-case basis, I think it sort of
Yeah.
depends on the situation.
Yeah, I think so.
Which, yeah, rules aren't, you don't need to write them up. It's a fluid thing. It changes. It
Yeah.
doesn't, if you're not cool with one thing today, you might be cool with it tomorrow. And
Yeah.
it's not a scale that you're trying to climb up. Like, you're not trying to achieve more. You know, if you're not full swap today, the goal isn't to get to full swap tomorrow. It's
No, the rules are there
whatever
to-
you're happy with. The rules can
Yeah.
change or be added or taken away. It's not as though there's a destination that you're trying to reach.
Right. Yeah, because they're there to make everybody more comfortable, not
Yeah.
to like keep you in line, but so that everybody's like,
Yeah, I
you know,
think if you're
feeling more
using them
into
to
it
keep
and-
your partner in line, you have more to talk about.
yeah, you got to go back farther, and yeah,
Yeah, you're not quite ready
yeah,
to make those kinds of rules. If you're trying to rein in your partner, that's
Yeah.
not really
I agree.
the
Yeah,
right frame of mind, I don't think, to do it.
I agree. So when do you think is like a good time to talk about rules with another couple?
The couple you're going to play with?
Yeah,
I guess it would depend how your conversation was sort of going. I mean, are you, meeting in a house party situation or a club situation, or are you on a date with them? I mean, if you actually went, to dinner with them or something like that, that's obviously a pretty good time to talk about that because
Right.
you're not already fooling around.
yeah, because we've had like a pretty big range already of like when we've talked to people about it, kind of.
Yeah.
Where it's like we had one time where it's like I don't even think we really talked about it until we were doing stuff.
It was literally like, can I do this? Yes. And then it happened.
Yeah.
That kind of thing.
Yeah, and then other times it was like right before we were about to play,
Yeah.
kind of thing. So I didn't know if there was.
And it's been sort of over food too, like in a date
Yeah, or
situation
messaging,
as well.
like-
oh yeah, that's true.
kicking it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
I mean, I guess it would depend if you have some very sort of hard and fast rules. And I think it would also depend if your rules are maybe a little less common
yeah,
and very important to you, then I would probably get those out there as soon as you've sort of decided that you want to play with somebody.
yeah,
Really.
Yeah.
If you're a little more going with the flow and, hey, as long as we're in the same room and everyone wears protection, we're going to go to town, then I don't know that it's necessarily – there's not really rules for you to put out there to
right.
kind of make sure.
Yeah.
Because I wouldn't want to be in a situation where you're already playing and then you're realizing like, oh, crap, we never told them that we don't
right.
kiss or something.
Yeah,
Or whatever, especially if it's a rule that is likely to come up. Like,
yeah,
I would err on the side of people are going to want to kiss you. That's
right. So
just
if
tends
you're
to
not-
be
if
more
you're
common.
not
So if that's a
comfortable
rule
with
for
that,
you, you
yeah.
need to make sure it's out there, and then no one will. I mean, people aren't going to try to force those things, but you do need to put
Yeah.
it out there ahead of time.
right. And so like our rules now, we are I guess actually pretty similar to how they were at the start, but
Basically,
we just kind of know lots of the other rules exist now, and we just
Mm-hmm.
don't follow them really.
for us,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
that's just what works for us.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
think we're more in the moment. I think it's more like,
Yeah.
do you want to play with these guys? Yeah, me too. Okay, are you feeling like this tonight or that tonight? Because there's other circumstances too.
Right.
Very real world things like
yeah. We just
how
can't do
everyone's
this.
feeling
Yeah.
and where you are and how long until the sitter's got to get
Yeah.
home or whatever. Like there's
Yeah.
a lot of stuff, other things going on that's not always this perfect world of
Yeah.
you can experience whatever you want for as long as you want. So sometimes there's other factors
Right.
that aren't rules, but they do impact what you might do that night. And I think that's what we tend to do is we're kind of like,
Right.
I'm good to go. Okay. And then
Yeah. Like I think we obviously follow like the using protection rule.
Always, yeah.
And we like the same room
Yeah.
rule. But then other than that, I think we both like that we don't have to have other rules to think about. We get to kind of just enjoy as we go.
Yeah.
If we had something that came up, like if there was a thing, we would obviously add it in. But I don't know. I could be wrong, but I think that's kind of where we are. Like,
I think so. I think so too. Because, and I think part of what the same room thing helps as well is you're involved in what each other's doing, and you're together as well. You're with your spouse, like you also play around with them often, because it's more of a group kind of thing. So if there was something that came up that one of us was uncomfortable with, we're all right there, and you can deal with it at that moment.
Right.
So maybe if you were doing more of a separate play thing, maybe there would be more rules, because it would be like, because you're not right there experiencing it with them. If somebody was starting to do something to me that you were like, no, I'm not feeling it. This is not cool. You're right there.
Right.
Easy.
Yeah.
Situation can stop and we're good.
Yeah.
So, I don't know if we would maybe have more rules if we played more separately.
Yeah, I could see that maybe.
Possibly.
I mean, and like all of the swinger rules aside, everybody still has their own kind of like personal rules for when they're, having sex with somebody.
Sure.
It's like, I don't know, you might have a certain rule of where you don't want, like, oh, don't get your cum in my hair, or like, quit smacking me in the face with your dick. Like,
those are both universal.
Yeah, I
just
know.
So you know. Those don't need to be rules. Those should just be.
It's a personal rule for me that I don't like to get hit in the face.
Yeah, I'm sure you don't.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's a whole other situation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so.
I mean,
those are for people to kind of vocalize as you're doing things.
That's more of a preference, I think, like a sexual preference than a rule. And that's a little bit of the gamble of swinging is you're with a brand new partner, which is super exciting and fun and sexy and stuff like that. But it's not necessarily always the perfect sex either, because they might do things in a way that you aren't loving or isn't your favorite or something like that. And that's kind of part of it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
But then your spouse is right there too, so you can go fool around with them.
That's right.
Really.
Yeah. No, you're right.
Yeah. Were there other rules that you were thinking of?
No, I think that was about it for rules that I had come across.
Yeah.
I'm sure there are tons more, and people have certain ones.
Definitely. Message in with your rules, folks.
Yeah.
If you have any we didn't mention, which I'm sure you do.
I'm sure we're still new to this.
Yeah.
So I'm sure we're missing tons of rules.
Yeah.
Like,
well, but I do think that...
So it was going to be a fucking rules, but you said nothing.
There's a difference. Okay. There's a difference between, I think, rules
Hashtag
and
not my nerds. Sorry.
Oh
okay, go ahead.
Okay. I can't stop
saying?
you when you're on.
No, I was on a roll.
It's okay.
Oh,
Okay.
fuck. Here goes Miller again.
Yeah.
Fucking Miller time.
Pat himself on the back. Okay. I think that there's a difference between rules and preferences, though. I think the rules of, we won't kiss other people. We won't full swap with other people. We have to be in the same room. We won't take one from the team. We have to wear protection. Those are more rule-ish. Then there's, preferences, I feel which is more of a sexual, just what you do and don't like.
Right.
I mean, sometimes that line might be sort of fuzzy, but in terms of, positions or those kinds of things, that's more of a preferential thing.
Yeah, that's true.
Maybe you do or don't like oral, whatever. I don't know, whatever the thing is.
Yep.
Who doesn't? But anyways, let's pretend. But that's more of a preference for you. So I don't know that it's a rule, you aren't allowed to do this, but maybe you just don't like it.
Right.
So for you as a couple, I'd be more comfortable if you didn't do this one thing or something. I don't know.
That's true.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, and preferences might come out more when you're talking with a couple, at the start.
Yeah.
If you're asking what people are into or not into, or messaging or whatever, those kind of things, the preferences might come out before.
Yeah, I think so.
I wonder if that tends to come out more positively, not so much things you're not into, but things that you are into. Somebody might ask you, nobody asks, what's your least favorite sex position?
No one says that.
Yeah. but they might ask you your favorite, so you kind of stick to that range or whatever.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was just thinking.
That's good. About anything in particular?
Well, so where would people land on anal, do you think? Because I would say that's...
It's everybody's favorite, isn't it? At least 50% of the population loves it.
Yeah. Well, I would say that is definitely not a common thing that you hear about. Like, I've never, right? We've never really run across it.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean it doesn't happen. I don't mean that. I just mean, I don't know if that would be more in the rural area. I mean, it could be for some people, like, I will not do, or you will not do, whatever. That could be a rule, I suppose. But it might also just be a preference where it's like, I don't need to make it a rule.
Yeah.
Because I don't like it, or you don't need to make it because you don't like it, or you know, whoever it is in the couple that doesn't, or maybe they both don't, or maybe they both love it, whatever. You just have to make sure that the couple that you're playing with is on the same page with you, in that area. So I don't, you know, that's kind of what I mean, I guess, between like a rule versus like a preference.
Yeah.
You know, if it's something you don't like, then I guess you could call it a rule because it's not going to happen. But rules, I think of more as things that are making your partner comfortable, you comfortable, making sure you're going into a situation knowing that there's not really anything you could do that would upset your partner.
Right. Those are like swinger, like couple rules, and the other ones are like personal preferences.
I think that's kind of how I'm thinking.
Like, if I'm not into anal, that doesn't really affect you at all.
Well, not really. I mean, like if you aren't into it, you're not going to do it. So fine.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
As long as we know what each other, you know, is and isn't into, then I don't really think that it much matters.
No, except that it really matters.
Now you're confusing the listeners.
I know, I'm kidding.
He makes that joke all the time, folks.
Yeah.
It gets a laugh like 1% of the time. But he holds up for it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that 1% though.
I'm a 1%er.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I think that was good.
Okay.
That's long enough. What do you think? Did you have anything
It's
else
fine.
you want to add?
No, I don't think so.